Hello.
Hi everyone.
Hi everyone.
Hello. So let us start. Thank you everyone for joining. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. We are now connected today from Tokyo and Hawaii and New York. And we are so excited to share the latest developments in relation to the Aska project and what has transpired since some of you joined us in Hawaii. So, before that, we get into the exciting latest the news. Let me first introduce today's speakers, and please bear with me about half-naked son of mine.
How cute.
Okay, you can say good night, and then you can go home.
Hi, good night. New York. Is that time?
It's 8 p.m. New York time, and apologize. Okay, so Yuka, first of all, as
Wait, I need to talk to you.
I'm sorry, you can't write.
Can I come and stay here for 5 minutes? No, you can have a phone.
Okay, then you sit down here. Okay, all right. Apologize. Let me introduce Yuka. Again, as many of you know, she's transgender cartoonist and published writer. Yuka grew up in a little bit complicated family environment as the third generation Korean in Japan. And her spiritual abilities that have been dormant opened up by the childbirth experience. As her abilities unleashed, she began to ask, why was I born in this world? Why do people have to experience so many painful experiences with the family, social relationships, monetary responsibilities, and so forth? And all of that because of difference at birth, that you're born into different backgrounds. She pursued self-dialogue and soon realized that it was necessary to improve her. She had to grow as a person first before she really was able to pursue that spiritual dialogue and her abilities at the level of the deep soul. After that, she and her friends and members hosted small festivals, mobile ones called Chisai Matsuri, literally translate as small festivals at many locations in Japan, including Chiba, Nara, Okinawa, and Hokkaido. And it was the order from the universe to host these festivals, and more than 1,000 people participated in each of these events. Yuka advocates the concept of Earth family, that we live together as a family on the planet or Mother Earth. Since 2018, Yuka has been contacted by Zeus, or we call him Zeushi, who is the source entity of that universe. And as a transgender, she goes around the world conducting spiritual ceremonies and writing books about the new world that resonates with that rising of the Earth dimension. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go today. Next, also very excited to introduce Micco, also from Japan. She is the cosmic messenger, and very exciting actually to talk a little bit about her background as well. So Micco experienced connecting with the universal mind, the mind of the universe, in her early 20s when she was praying for world peace in India. And after that, she has continued to receive voices, messages, and signs that guide her to places where her soul is connected, and also to offer prayers. In 2017, she remembered her past life as a member of the Myriad, and also met her spirit mate, Kazu. Together, their awakening speed accelerated, and they visited Hopi tribes, Mount Shasta, and Native Hawaiians while receiving their wisdom and guidance. And later, you will see some of these friends also joining us today. These experiences led them to move to the big island of Hawaii in 2019. There, Micco met Yuka, who channels Zeushi, the source entity of the universe. Together as a shaman and messenger, the two of them have worked together to hold ceremonies in order to conclude the old chapter of our history, of our consciousness, and to begin a new chapter of the Earth family, which all we share, which is also now known as Aska Project. And I'm going to ask Micco to say a few words about that later. Micco's mission is to connect all the people who share the same inspiration, the vision. And that culminated into the project in Hawaii, held on the 15th of May 2021. In the midst of COVID, a stone tower known as the Harmony Stone was built there. This ceremony marked the rising of a flag symbolizing the creation of a new world with the Earth family. Micco, 4 days later, after the ceremony, was told by a Hawaiian shaman to go to the next location. And guess what? On the summer solstice 2021, she arrived in Japan and has continued to fulfill her mission.
Thank you so much.
That's
Yeah, the reason why she is speaking instead of us because our English, me and Yuka's English is not really perfect. So I asked Mie to introduce our biography. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No, pleasure.
What about yourself, Mie-san?
Oh, thank you. Hi, my name is Sumi Nakaya. I'm also Japanese, but and that's my son Sola, who is popping up and down. We live in New York, and I'm a peacekeeper. Literally, like I started my career with the with a humanitarian group supporting refugees, and then I worked with the UN agencies. An agency assisting women in conflict zones, and in the past 15 years, I've been with the United Nations peacekeeping operations. I've been working on conflict zones with the United Nations Department of Peace Operations. And this is Sola.
Sola.
Left. Hi.
Hi.
Okay. Now, Sola, can I continue, please?
Fine.
Okay. Good night.
Good night.
For me, are you?
Okay, how about Nori? Oh, thank you, Sumie-san, and thank you for joining our meeting today. And yeah, as translator and MC is Sumie-san. Thank you so much. How about Norie, you?
Thank you. Hello, my name is Norie. I also I was involved in the this whole project, Earth Family Project, since the time of Hawaii when we built the Harmony Stone, and we've been helping each other for some time. And this time we came back at the same time as Micco did to Japan. Because we have further next missions to follow, and I lived in the United States for more than 25 years, and what do?
Free people.
I go
Free
to
people.
many places, wherever that's guided.
Yes. beautiful women.
Yes, and I enjoy this project a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perhaps Micco-san, maybe we can talk a little bit about the transition from the last project in Hawaii and what's in store and what do we expect from all of us in the coming weeks. The Hawaii project, the tower was built to really sort of connect us and the earth and restore the energy of Lemuria, and really reminds us of the Lemurian time when people lived in harmony with the Mother Nature and Heavenly Father. And it was also a time of transition from, like, again, the past patterns to the new earth, the new world, where, that's based on the prayer and sort of the community building. And therefore, I understand that the real sort of the key word or key sort of spiritual energy of the Hawaii project was the Lemuria. But maybe you can tell us a little bit about that and what you've been working on since.
どう話そうかね。今までの大きなガイダンスを話すわね。眠りや。
今までのすいません。
ですよ。
ハワイでのね、レムリアの。
Maybe Sumie, we can talk about the role of the harmony stone before going to the France.
Yeah, that'd be great. And then we can talk about what's happening now.
Yes. ごめん。
Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. So the one second, I'm sorry. So yes, the stone. It was a symbol, right, of the transition, and also to really adjust and harmonize the Earth magnetic field. And Hawaii was the source of one of the main sources of it. Is the effect of the pole shift that is coming. It is coming because through the pole shift, the Earth is trying to return to its pristine original alignment. And sort of to sort of adjust and also cleanse the effects of the past patterns. And now that the stone is built in Hawaii, the message from the universe, the next order, the next instruction is to build, I understand, 8 more towers by 2024. And that the locations are now France, New Zealand, India, Botswana, the Russian Federation, Peru, the United States, and we have a specific location for this, Mount Shasta, and then the United Kingdom. And specifically, the very immediate next step is to build a statue of Mary in Romarine, southern France, on the 11th of February, 2022. That is 3 weeks from now. And then there will be the specific purpose for the tower in France is to awaken and heal the female consciousness of the earth. So it seems that now that the sort of the theme is the feminine power and the keyword Mary. Perhaps maybe you can elaborate a little bit on that part.
Yes. So let's call upon Tom and Katarina because they joined our ceremony in Hawaii and then they work together. So after we finished ceremony in Hawaii, so we moved to Japan last year, summer solstice. And I want to share them what happened after Hawaii.
Yes.
Yeah. So ポムとカタリナを ジョインお願いします。
Hello.
Aloha!
Hello.
Aloha, sister.
Hi, Catalina.
Hi.
Hi.
Palm. Hey.
Yes,
Hi,
Palm.
Palm.
Hello, nice to see you all.
Maybe
And so,
Katarina and Paul, maybe you can say a few about yourself as well. Nice to meet you, by the way.
Katarina, she is my frat sister in Big Island. And Palm is my ceremony brother. He's from Manchester. Yeah, could you introduce yourself, Katarina?
Aloha, everybody. How are you? My name is Catalina. Yuka said we are sisters across the world doing things to change the world. So nice to meet you, everybody. Hi.
Hi.
and
Palm?
Hello, yes, thank you for having me on the show.
Mhm.
My name is Paul Pahato, or Michael Preston, in my English name. I'm from the Winnemem Wintu tribe in Mount Shasta, California. Right now, I'm on the coast of Santa Barbara, and I'm calling in from the Pacific Ocean that connects us all. And why we're showing up to this information exchange and knowledge and attainment from you all. I'm here to learn from everybody as well. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. So they joined our Earth Family Project, Aska Project in Big Island, May 15th. And we did a beautiful prayer in front of Harmony Stone. Do we have the picture of the ceremony? Nothing. 写真ありますか ?5 月15日の。Yes.
Beautiful.
Wow. Where's the tower then? 塔はどこにある
It's behind the people.
Behind the people.
That was a fun time right there. That was a good picture.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that oh yes.
Yes.
This is a harmony stone in Big Island. So this ceremony, the order come from the source of the universe. Yeah. We call Zeushi. Yeah. He told us to do this ceremony. Then we had no idea because I don't have any friend in this part in Big Island, and I didn't have any financial to, build up this harmony stone. But because of Universal told me, so I just keep going to believe and connect to the universe. Then so many people joined us because this ceremony is very significant to going to the next stage of the earth. So we collect all the prayers. Yes. Then we could do this ceremony on May 15th last year. So that then after we finished this ceremony, actually Universal told us, okay, 8 more harmony stones, 8 more prayer stone in different countries. What? By 2024. What a short time. So after this, we next country is France. So it's on February 11th. Actually, it's only 3 more weeks. We have no time, but yes, Universal told us to do this. And then for France, so about France, they could Sumie-san, could you explain about Katarina and Palm about Mother Earth's message?
Yeah, so apparently, according to the message that Yuka has received, again, it's this time the focus is the female consciousness.
Mm.
And the keyword is Mary. But when we hear the word Mary, right? Some of us think, I think many of us actually think of Mary as a mother, right?
Yes.
I think there is an element of the Mother Earth for sure.
Mm.
But then we are also sort of trying, discovering there's another Mary, right? Mary of Magdalena,
Mm-hmm.
who is a very fascinating character, but yet unknown to most of us.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to decipher those two different elements of Mary or Maria. Perhaps Katarina, maybe, and Palm. I mean, if you have some thoughts, anything that you can share or tell us about what you know of Mary, would be very interesting to hear from you as well. Over to you, Katarina.
Sorry. Actually, yeah. The reason why we need to focus on the Mary of Magdalena is because, so last time in Hawaii, the keyword was Mu and Lemuria. Yeah. So we didn't know why we are doing this ceremony, but through preparing for this ceremony, then we realized, oh, this is a kind of like a karma of Lemuria and Mu. So people had a memory of Mu and Lemuria. Those people joined our ceremony mostly. Yeah, but then we could do that. So next friends, we recognize that keyword is Mary Magdalena. So now we need to talk about and share about this energy of Mary Magdalena. Then we can open the gate of friends, because the most important things is we only have 3 weeks, but we are still looking for the statue of Mother Mary. Yeah. So Zeus told us, in order to do the ceremony of friends, what kind of statue what we need, and then Yuka watched the vision of Mother Mary. So now we are looking for the statue of Mother Mary, and then according to Zeus, statue of Mother Mary is in France, but we still looking for the France. And then but what should we do? Then actually now is a time we need to focus on the energy of Mary Magdalena. It's hidden energy. That's why we wanted to talk about today. So Katarina, please.
Well, I was very surprised and shocked to discover that that's the next piece of the mission, which I just heard, by the way, everybody, about 20 minutes ago.
Yes.
It's really exciting because about 20 years ago, I went really deep into trying to understand this story or the narrative that they've created of Jesus. So I got into this whole thing, and him being Jewish, and usually, right, people who are of Jewish faith, who are up in the leadership parts of the religion, they're married. And part of that is because they must understand the role of man and women in marriage in a whole family in order to continue to expand the kingdom of God. So I continued to study, and then, right, these little pieces of Mary Magdalene have been coming into our consciousness through things like Sumie mentioned, the Da Vinci Code. And so I started looking into it, and there's many people that are saying, wait, that was his wife. So this energy of reclaiming the divine feminine, because the known narrative of Mary of Magdala that's in the Bible that people have accepted without question was that she was a person with like looser morals, right? But what people don't understand is, as Jesus's wife, they were the partners that created this, the positive and the negative and the battery that makes the activation for the people all around them. So she explains, even in some of her gospels. Pom, have you heard of the books of Mary Magdala? Can I read you all an excerpt? Because I think it goes a little bit to now. So now, the society that we're in, when we're not feeling good, we're reaching to things like pharmaceuticals or other things. And in this passage, she is discussing there's the books of Mary Magdala. For those that you do not know, there's only a few pieces of a few remaining chapters out of all of her books. There's only a few verses of 4 or 5 chapters of her books. So this is from the earliest chapter that they have, and it starts on verse 22 of chapter 4. We don't know what it says in chapters 1 through 3, but I'm just going to read you a short excerpt because I want people to understand the difference in the way she presents the way Jesus spoke versus the way that we have in the narrative of the Bible now. And it's very interesting how he talks to her. You have to really listen. It's high level thinking. So here we go. So there's a ... right? Because we don't know what happened in the earlier verses 1 through 22 in chapter 4. ... Will matter then be destroyed or not? The Savior said, all nature, all formations, all creatures exist and with one another, and they will be resolved again into their own roots. For the nature of matter is resolved into the roots of its own nature alone. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Peter said to him, since you have explained everything to us, tell us this, what is the sin of the world? The Savior said, there is no sin, but you who make sin when you do the things that are like the nature of adultery, which is called sin. And this is why the good came into your midst, to the essence of every nature, to restore it to its root. He continued and said, that is why you become sick and die, for you are deprived of the one who can heal you. Matter gave birth to a passion that has no equal, which proceeded from something contrary to nature. There arises a whole disturbance in the body. This is why I say to you, be of good courage, and if you are discouraged, be encouraged in the presence of the different forms of nature. He, the Blessed One, said unto this, he greeted them all and said, peace be with you. Receive my peace unto yourselves.
難しい。Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Do you guys have any impressions of sharings of what that meant to you?
Sure, I'll hop in there.
Is that right?
I'll jump in there. I think that when you was reading that, like there was from what I heard, I don't know much about Mary Magdalena, but she has been coming into my sphere like pretty heavy these past few months through some of the other people that I'm in my circle. They talk about her. They're bringing her up more and more and letting me know about the story but one of the stories that I heard though is that she had some teachings that were like that, like in those books, and like that's why they tried to like shun her out and like keep her out from spreading the knowledge and wisdom. And so that's what I heard about Mary Magdalena, and that she was really a medicine person and not what they say she is and what it was, as you talked about already. But that was legit. Thank you for sharing that.
Wow, but how timely is that? You know, every sort of word, every concept, every sort of thinking pattern in that, it just speaks really right to what we are facing right today in this modern world. It's amazing. It's really amazing. And I think some of the things that Micco said, right, like it's hidden, it's unknown, and therefore it needs to be uncovered. It needs to be brought up. It needs to be opened, and it needs people who are connected to that psyche, in a way that you brought people with a connection to Lemuria and more last time. This time around, you need companions, right? With that connection to Mary Magdalene's consciousness and the originality of it.
The fact that you all are going to France as well, that's close to the homelands of Mary, is very important. That you're looking and searching. I think that's the path. Whoa, yeah. I think that needs to be explored a little bit, and the real teachings like it's shared with everybody out here, kind of thing. The truth, something like that, though.
And from what I understand, in order to transition into the new earth, we did the theme in Hawaii was to unleash and restore Lemurian energy. that is needed for the creation of the new earth. And this time in France is to also uncover, and restore the divine feminine energy or the part for the new earth. Yeah, that's the theme.
Yes.
And yeah, we want to also find the statue of Mary. We have limited time, and through we want everybody to understand the importance of this unleashing part, the uncovering part of feminine energies. It's not about somebody else's mission. It's us individuals. Very important mission. We want to consciously pray for. So that's why we are holding this meeting together to call upon other people's energies and prayers. We need to find the statue of Mary in France.
Also, we are looking for the family, us family in France too. You know, like Katarina and Pom, you know, everyone who joined our ceremony in Big Island, you know, they just heard about the ceremony through many people, and then they felt, oh, this is my ceremony, and then they joined to the Hawaii and dance ceremony that time. So this is keep continuously doing same things. Even we go to the next country, this is our Earth Family Project. Now is the time we need to, each one of us, we need to wake up, and then we need to connect to the Mother Earth energy, and then we need to restore the many hidden energy throughout our history. Yes.
Thank you.
So the last part of chapter 7. So I was listening to you, and so we're thinking. So everybody who's listening right now, we're looking for the next piece for what's going up in France, right? So listen to this verse. This is what she says.
All right.
Mary answered and said, "What is hidden from you, I will proclaim to you." And she began to speak to them in these words. She said, I saw the Lord in a vision, and I said to him, Lord, I saw you today in a vision. He answered and said to me, Blessed are you that you did not waver at the sight of me, for where the mind is, there is the treasure. I said to him, Lord, how does he who sees the vision see it? Through the soul or through the spirit? The Savior answered and said, He does not see through the soul nor through the spirit, but with the mind that is between the two. That is what sees the vision, and it is.
Between the two.
So anyone out there, vision between the spirit and the soul, message us now.
Yeah, exactly. If any of this rings to you, or if you want to just find out what that means, because find us. I mean, you can find us. I think at some point we'll probably just have information about where to contact you or how to get connected and so forth. But can I actually ask a really more technical question?
Sure.
Can you travel to France now?
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's why we need to ask Zeushi this time. Yeah. Yeah, because this ceremony, the order from universe, so he had some idea, of course. So that's why we wanted to ask about many things, the reality, technically things that, yeah. So should we call Zeus now?
今頃のタイミングで呼んじゃっていいのかなしら。もう少しお話ししてからの方がいいですか？
いや、いいんじゃないですかね。
ちょっとI just want to Katarina Magdalena. Or Palm. Palm. You can share something about Mary Magdalena before we go to Zeushi's session.
If he knows.
If he knows, because what we are trying to clarify is the energy of Mother Earth and the energy of Mary Magdalena and the statue of Mary, what we are going to build. These two needs to be clarified to people's mind. That's why this is important to discuss about Mary. Is there anything you want to say?
Yes, I can add.
Oh.
Just to talk about a little bit about what's happening inside of our ceremonial places is also definitely a one towards the sacred feminine, restoring that into balance, into sacred alignment, because that's a big part that's missing. A part is if we want trying to make place sacred, we all have to be aligned. Sacred masculine, sacred feminine. Sacred feminine has definitely been suppressed, and like it's just weird to me. Like it's a weird situation out there for I don't know, like the feminine energy. It's almost like it's like targeted or something. It's almost like it's like if too feminine, it's targeted for some reason, and it's like kind of caged in or boxed up or like something like manipulated on it somehow. It's like a medicine, but so of course they try to like take it out of the land. But Magdalena, what I heard about her, like I said, I haven't heard too much about Magdalena, but she is coming into my. She's been coming into my sphere of mode of like how I just like, how you like walk around and like something's kind of come in and you're like, oh, I should remember that. Magdalena has been one of that person for me right now. I'm like ended up in the research areas where she exists, and I learned that just like she has more medicine to offer up the world, and it's not what people say she is, as far as like what the Bible is concerned. And this restoring the sacred feminine for us is like represented in a particular dance form that like women will be having new leadership inside of, like to run kind of thing, because that's really it's supposed to be. And like that's kind of like the reflection from the Native community where I'm from, is that there also needs to be a restored balance that's something that's lacking that needs to be lifted back up and because how you all chase out the light, for medicine out there. I thank you for Zeushi for the channelings that are here. Ready to listen.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing.
And I think unfortunately what's happened within our society as well is that the idea of the divine feminine partner has been lost, right? They've put women in the divine mother role, and then we've stayed there. We're always the divine mother. We're the divine mother of our husbands. We're the divine mother of our children. We're the divine mother of everything. But where are us as divine partners to the divine masculine, right? I mean, it could be not necessarily that the new complete leadership of the world is only divine feminine. It's the men and women like Jesus and Mary Magdalene who did all of the work inside of themselves in order to become the best version of themselves, that when they created a partnership together, more was able to be created than when they were alone, which is something that we have found in our group, even of community. We're finding all our twin flames and our divine partners. And in order to achieve these larger things, we really have to work on ourselves and be responsible for what we are bringing to the table as a partner.
I think that's beautiful, and I think that's really relates to the chapter 7 that you read, right? It's roots, plural, not singular, right? So you have sort of the both elements in harmony as opposed to just one sort of category of women. So I think that's part of pluralism. Probably that's also a sort of the key concept when we talk about Mary as a mother and Mary as, the feminine woman partner. It doesn't have to be one label. It can be multiple labels, and it's totally okay to have, two different sort of energy pillar, so to speak.
うんうんうん。
Just have to recognize that as opposed to being confused or try to like mix everything together. Maybe that's also a part of the uncovering process.
いやー、素晴らしい。Beautiful. Feel the same way. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
うん。
let's
Let's go the further.
Let's そうよね。So yeah, we need to, as we discussed, it needs to be clarified before the statue can build. Otherwise, her energy cannot land
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
don't need to do this right now
Mm-hmm.
because we should ask Zeus and then together we should after Zeus come and then we can talk about more.
Yeah,
because he has some information
to share with us.
Yeah,
and
yes.
also Katarina and Paul, you can ask questions too
related to
the project.
So okay. じゃあゆかさんゼウシをお願いします。
どんな流れになったかだけ言ってもらえたらいいんですけど。
すみれさん、can you share with Yuka?
そうですね。しばらくマグダラのマリアのお話をしていて、でやっぱりそのマリアね、その女性性っていうのはその母性だけではなくていろんな側面があるんだろうと、パートナーっていう側面だとか、あとやっぱりそのマグダラのマリアはやっぱりまだ知られてなかった部分がたくさんあるので、だからこそ今ね再発見というかオープニングっていうのが必要な要素なんだろうという感じかな、すごくざっくり言うと。なので、でもその隠れてる部分があるだけ、やっぱりこれからどうやって石を探していったらいいのか、その辺をちょっとゼウシにもっと聞いてみないと、その後にもう一回ブレインストーミングをしようかという流れでいいかな。
ゼウシが入ってきてくれてメッセージをもらってからの、そういうことかっていうことでもう一回話しましょうっていう流れになっておりますね。
はい、わかりました。では、よろしくお願いします。
お願いします。
カタリナもよろしくお願いします。
じゃあ私が日本語で話しかけるので、すみえさんがゼウシの英語のトランスレーションをお願いします。
はい。Okay, so I'll translate what Zeus to say through Yuka.
お呼びいただきありがとうございます。今日この場で皆さんとお話しできることを光栄に思います。よろしくお願いいたします。
よろしくお願いします。よし、今日は英語配信ということで、英語のトランスレートが入りますので、ゼウシどうぞよろしくお願いします。
Thank you for inviting me. I'm so pleased to be here with you to be able to speak to you.
今日はですね、2月11日フランスのセレモニーが迫っているんですが、現実的な話になるんですが、今フランスに渡航すること自体がこの状況が難しいのですが、そのあたりについて私たちはどのようにしたらいいか教えていただけたら嬉しいです。
あなた方はこのプロジェクトをどのような捉え方をなさっていらっしゃるのでしょうか。
The question was, as we approach closer to the 11th of February, the day of the events, we also are faced with the difficulty of travel restrictions because of COVID. So the question was, so how do you go about it if you can't even enter France? What are the technical issues that we need to resolve? Then the Zeus asked, answered, what a question! How do you see this project? What's the meaning of this?
アースファミリーの祈りのプロジェクトということで、祈りでつながるということですか？
あなた方がこの地球の一つの家族として祈りをするということ。そのためにはプロジェクト自体のメンバーというものの考え方を変えていく必要があります。これは地球のプロジェクトです。そして地球とは我々宇宙の一員でありますので、宇宙のプロジェクトでもあります。あなた方の人間のプロジェクトでは、そのプロジェクトを行うメンバーが中心となり、動いていくでしょう。しかし、これはそういったものではありません。これは地球の未来のためのプロジェクトなのです。あなた方、地球にいらっしゃるすべての方々が、このプロジェクトの意味を理解し、すべての人間が地球のために動く必要があります。それはあなた方のためでもあるのです。そのために今我々の声を聞き、受け取り、動いているあなた方がどのようにそれを伝えていくのか。そしてあなた方の声を聞き、我々の意図を知り、地球の意識を受け取る方々が集まり、フランスでどういった祈りをするべきなのか、多くの方々で議論する必要があります。そしてこのプロジェクトはすべての人間のためであるということ、自分のためであるということを理解し、その上でそれぞれの役割に従い、ご自分のなすべきことをするということ、それが今あなた方に求められています。
So this is an event of a prayer for the earth. So that is the definition of this event. And therefore, it's not only a project for certain members, but it's a project for the earth, for everyone on the planet. When you humans, when we do projects, you usually mobilize project members and you sort of organize events with those sort of core members. But again, do not forget that this is a project for the earth and therefore for everyone in it. And also by extension, because the earth is part of the universe, it is also a universal project. Therefore, you need to move away from the idea of having project members and instead really sort of focus and reorient your thinking on how all of you, everyone on the planet, on the earth can participate. That means that those of you who are listening here today, who can hear my voices and understand my messages, it's up to you to communicate that in a way that everyone else, others, can understand what I'm trying to tell you. And once the understanding is penetrated, then the individuals can decide what to do, what role to play. And therefore, you would need a more collective discussions You need a wider audiences. You need more participatory approach that involves not just, again, a few members, but conceptually everyone on the earth.
ということは、今の現状だと、渡航することが難しいというのと、もっとこのことを世界中に伝えることが必要だとおっしゃっているということは、この状況の中でいろんな方々とオンラインなどを通して、この活動を伝えていくっていう、そういうことでしょうか。
そのように捉えていただいて結構です。しかし今、あなた方がそこに行けない状況であるということが、あなたの口から伝えられましたが、あなた方が今、自由に行き来ができない状況になっているということを、まずそれに対しても深く考える必要があるでしょう。これから世界が断絶の方向へと進んでいきます。その中であなた方はそれと相反する行動をなされるのです。つながっていくという行動です。これはすべて必然です。世界が断絶の方向へと進むことも必然であり、その中で並行しあなた方がつながりを作っていくということも必然のことなのです。この相反することが同時に起こることで、あなた方のエネルギーが交差し合い、これまで皆さんが作ってきた境界線を溶かしていく流れになっていくでしょう。あなた方が今、同時並行として世界で起こっていることをネガティブに捉えないでください。それすらも全てが光の未来へとつながっているのです。そしてそのため、今あなた方がつながり合うために、この地球と人類の未来のために何を今なすべきか、それを伝えてください。
So does it mean that the fact that we can't travel, does it mean that at the same time, so you seem to be saying, no, Micco-chan was asking, was so clarifying, Zeus, you seem to be saying that the focus should be to enhance wider understanding on the purpose and the impact of the project in France. Does it mean that if we can't travel, should we just focus on online communication, messaging, and so forth? And Zeus answered, you just said that we can't travel and that we face restrictions, but you need to actually think through what that means. The world is heading into two opposite directions, division and connection. The travel restrictions could be considered as divisions. But in reality, you have sort of two parallel movements taking place, division and connections, and the energies from both spectrums are kind of crossing one another. And in doing so, the divisional energies and connective energies, the crossing points, the crossing of those two energies actually end up melting the boundaries in between. So you don't need to think of these restrictions negatively as a challenge, but it can also be considered as an opportunity. you're heading into what lies ahead of you. Lies ahead of you is the path of light. Do not forget that. You need to communicate widely, globally, that this project again is for the earth and for all on the earth. That is the most important point.
はい、ありがとうございます。では、ゼウシ、今回この2月11日の、その、マリアの像を探しているという流れの中で、たくさんの方から、隠されたマグダラのマリアというキーワードが出てきまして、マグダラのマリアのことについて、ちょっと私たちももっと知りたいのですが、ぜひ、今回このキーワードで出てきているマグダラのマリアについて教えていただけないでしょうか。
彼女とはどういう存在という認識をされていらっしゃいますか？
So the question was again about the role of the Mary of Magdalene in this project. And Zeus can answer with a question. What do you see? How do you see Mary? How do you conceive her role?
ジーザス、イエス・キリストの実は奥さんだったというところとか、その女性性、男性性、パートナーシップについての話があったりとか、なんかとにかくその歴史の中で、その時にまだ出せないインフォメーションだったので、隠されていたけど、今の時代にとても大切なエネルギーなので、そこの蓋を開ける必要があるのかなっていう、私はそのぐらいの認識です。
あなた方が今認識されているキリストという存在、彼が行ったとされること、それが彼女が行ったことでもあるとすれば、あなた方はどう考えられますか？本来、あなた方は一つのプロジェクト、一つの道を歩むとき、女性と男性、女性性と男性性、この二つに分かれたエネルギーをペアとし進まれていきます。そうすることでバランスが取れるからです。女性は子供を産むことができますが、子供を作ることは一人ではできません。すべてのことがツインとなり、統合されたエネルギーで行っていく。そのようになっております。これはキリストも例外ではありません。彼がされたとすること、あなた方が今伝えられた彼の人物像、行い、言葉、エネルギー、そのすべてが彼一人でされたことではないのです。マリアが行った行為も彼が行ったとされて伝えられています。彼が行ったという場所も彼女が行った場所であることも多いのです。あなた方は今、二人の人間が統合され一つのキリストとして伝えられている人物像を認識されていますが、それを二つに分ける必要があります。そのため、正しくマリアという存在を理解していく必要もあります。そうすることで、本来のキリストも見えてくるでしょう。
So Mary is often considered as the wife of the Jesus Christ, or is considered in terms of the partnerships with the Christ. But how about that we have mistakenly consider some of the things that Jesus did, which was actually done by Mary? We consider the masculinity and femininity as two distinct energies. And that leads to a balance. Women can bear children, but women themselves cannot conceive a child. You need two sexes. And that means integration of energies. Jesus and Mary are integrated energies. Or at least when we think of Jesus, it's actually Jesus and Mary. They have done actions together, but in the history, we only known their joint actions as Jesus' actions. And therefore, we need to decipher and differentiate what Jesus actually did and what Mary did. There are many things that Mary did or went or performed as miracles that are now transmitted as Jesus' actions, Jesus' miracles. But in factuality, some of them or many of them were done by Mary. And we need to learn what they were and what Mary was. And by doing so, you would also discover Jesus.
はい、とっても衝撃的な内容を聞いたっていう感じなんですけれども、本当に歴史がひっくり返ることを今聞いたなって思うんですけど、でもすごく納得いく話だったんですが、私たちはこれを聞いて、このことをこう世界的に配信するっていうことなんですが、どのようにしたらいいでしょうか、この情報を聞いて。
あなたはこれから祈りにより人々がこの母なる地球とつながり、そして生きていく世界を作っていくということ、それを行動に移し動かれていらっしゃいます。これからの世界で祈りをする、その中心は女性です。本来女性がこれまでも宇宙とつながり、そして地球の意識とつながり、神々とつながり、見えない存在たちのメッセージを伝え、この社会を作ってきました。その世界へとこれからあなた方が戻っていかれるのです。キリストが我々のメッセージをその当時多くの方々に伝えていきました。彼は新しい世界を創造するための行いをするために現れた存在です。しかし彼が伝えた我々のメッセージとは、彼が受け取ったものではなく、マリアが受け取り彼に伝えたものです。その構図にこれから皆さんは戻っていかれます。彼らはそれを代表してあなた方に見せてくれた存在なのです。女性が受け取る我々のメッセージを男性が受け取り、それを正しく社会へと形づけていくでしょう。あなた方が今この事実をどう扱えばよいのか迷われるのであれば、彼らのそのパートナーシップがこれからの世界のスタンダードになっていくということを伝えていくと良いでしょう。そして彼らがその人生において神の意図を受け取り、そして自分たちの役割を果たすことを決めた土地があなた方が今塔を建てようとされている場所なのです。彼らの思いをあなた方が汲み取り、そしてまた新しい未来へとつなげていく、そういった思いを伝えていかれてはいかがでしょうか。
わかりました。ありがとうございます。
So it's a shocking revelation, no? It really sort of transforms the history as we know it. But actually, from the ancient times, it was women who received the messages of the universe from the gods and goddesses in any culture. It was women who could connect to the spiritual beings. And in a way, by talking about this type of partnership, we actually return into the original state of the humanity. What we consider today as Jesus' messages or the Jesus' concept of the world, it was not him who received those messages. It was Mary who received those universal wisdom. It was Mary who passed that universal wisdom to Jesus, and Jesus put into the practical, Jesus put it into the world so that the wider audiences could benefit from. So it was a feminine, sacred feminine who received the spiritual messages, and it was the masculinity who sort of put it into action, into realization. If you're not comfortable talking about these roles of Jesus and Mary, because it could be indeed shocking, and if you don't want to sort of go that way, you maybe just talk about the new partnerships of the femininity, of the feminine and masculine energies that women received and put it into action. And the location in France is the location where this partnership was put into action. And therefore, what we hope is that you would transmit this idea of partnerships. Who receives, who transmits? It's the feminine and masculine integration.
Thank you, Smee. Katarina, you may have some questions or something to comment about Zeushi's messages. Later, Yuka's time is limited, so we can talk after Zeushi leaves her body. And now, Katarina's question.
Yeah, please ask Zeushi about your simple question. We need more information from Zeushi. So if you have any simple question, either palm.
There are divine partnerships now with certain men and women. So how do we move how do we move everyone into that direction? Let's say even the way businesses are run, or how do we take these relationships that have been sacred and doing this, and how do we help to spread this movement around the whole world in a meaningful way where it's more than just people hearing it?
すみえさん、日本語でお願いします。
はい。この神聖なるその女性性と男性性のパートナーシップというものを具現化している人はいるかもしれないけれども、それをもう世界的にみんながそういうふうになれるように広めていくにはどうしたらいいでしょうか。
まずはあなたがそのモデルとなることです。これは難しいことではないのです。すべての方々がご自分の思うパートナーシップを築き上げるということ、そしてそのパートナーシップで生きるということ、ただそれだけで良いのです。 難しく考えることでもなく、それを広げるために何かをすることではありません。ただ、その状態であるということ、そしてその2人で作られるエネルギーがあなた方と交流する方々に伝わっていくでしょう。そうすることで、あなた方のパートナーシップを見て、自分たちもそのあり方であろうと変わっていく人間が増えていきます。もしあなたがそれをしたいというのであれば、ぜひご自分のパートナーとの関係を自由なものにされてください。そして、パートナーと共に同じようにご自分たちにとってベストなパートナーシップを組まれている方々と共に集まり、あなた方の考えをシェアしていくことが良いでしょう。そのメンバーが増えれば増えるほど、あなた方のエネルギーが世界へと大きく広がり、そしてその速度も速くなります。
Start with yourself. You do not need specific action, but you be in that sacred partnership would inspire others. You become the symbol and the model of it. So please build a partnership based on freedom, and that others who see that, they will feel the vibration of that sacred partnerships. And you also being with these people who are also enjoying the sacred partnership, that would create wavelength and inspire others to follow the suit.
Okay. So, Paul, do you have any question?
Yes, I do. Sorry, it got really late and dark out there.
That's
The sun
okay.
went away. But I had a question for. I wanted to see what the opinion was about, like maybe going into the sacred partnerships and like how people are going into the computerized world to find those things more and more. And like, is the sacred feminine and the divine feminine going to go into the metaverses that are out there, for example, and do they stay out for like the ruining of the sacred partnership, or do we try to create that? Because a lot of people are going to be going into that ulterior AI universe, and what do we do to try to maneuver that?
これからサイバー社会ということで、みんなコンピューターとかね、インターネットをベースにして生きていくようになる中で、どうやったらその聖なる、神聖なるパートナーシップというのを生み出していけるのでしょうか。一部の人だけがそうパートナーシップを享受できるのか、それともそのインターネット社会になっても聖なるパートナーシップを生み出すことはできるんでしょうか。
どうしてあなたはそれができないと思われているのでしょうか。
Why do you think that that it would be difficult in the cyber based society to have the sacred partnerships?
I'm not sure. I'm not thinking it would be, actually. A lot of people are cautioned of taking a lot of precaution to going inside there. And it's a fear level we have to like kind of drop, I guess.
特に難しいことではないのかもしれません。ただ、インターネットなどって、恐れというものが、他人に対する恐れというものができるのかもしれません。
はじめに、この世界が一度断絶の方向へ進んでいくということをお伝えいたしました。そうなったとき、今あなた方が使われているそのネットワークは重要なものになっていくでしょう。すべての手段は使う人間によって変わるのです。あなた方が ネットワークを使いつながり合うこと、世界が断絶を始めたときには、とても大切なツールとなります。しかし、一度それも閉ざされるでしょう。その時、あなた方は驚かないでください。ネットワークすらも断絶された時、その時初めてあなた方は人と人が直接に交流し合い、リアルに話し合い、出会い、関わり合う、その新しいコミュニケーションを学ぶのです。このプロセスはすべてあなた方がこれからの新しい社会において必要なスキルを手に入れるための学びだと思ってください。これは今ここにいらっしゃるあなた方だけではなく、地球上のすべての方々がこのカリキュラムを学んでいかれます。ですので、その時どのような状況であれ、そしてその時にどういった手段を取るのであれ、あなたが今どのような心でその手段を使うのか、それが何よりも大切であるということを知っておいてください。
I've mentioned that that the world is heading into division. And when this breakdown process advances, that also changed our current reliance on technology. At the end of the day, it is up to us to decide which tools to use. So the technology was used heavily when we were creating a world of division. But if the division advances and things begin to unravel, the technology itself might also break down. And that's when you begin to, again, rediscover the connections based on people-to-people dialogue, community building. And no matter where you find yourselves and what condition you are in, what's important is the state of mind, your state of mind. And this is a learning process for all of us, not just us here on this call, but everyone has to relearn. This is a curriculum for everyone on the earth. And at any point, no matter what happens, it's going to be your state of mind that will decide a tool of communication.
はい、ありがとうございます。では、ゼウシ、今日最後に、この集まってくれた方と、そして世界の皆さんにゼウシからメッセージを一言お願いします。
今日はお呼びいただきありがとうございます。皆さんのこの世界が皆さんの望みに従い変化をしていく時となりました。この地球で多くの方々が新しい世界を、新しい社会を築きたいと望まれていらっしゃいます。しかし、人によってはその思いがあれど方法がわからない方、情報が届いていない方、たくさんいらっしゃるでしょう。すべての人々が我々にとっては大切な仲間であり、子供です。皆さんがご自分の意思に従い、これからの新しい世界の変革の流れの中を手を取り合い、歩まれていく姿を我々は見たいと 考えております。どうぞ今日のこの日が皆さんにとって、そして我々にとってより良い未来につながる日であるということを望んでおります。どうぞまたお呼びください。ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございます。
So the last message from Zeus before he departed, you are in the time of the great transition to build the world as you wish. You're trying to create a new society. Some of you may feel lost because you don't know how to. Some of you may not have enough information. But do not forget that, again, it is your vision that guides you, that builds the new world. I very much hope to see all of us in the universe are looking forward to seeing you working together, hand in hand, sharing a vision. Each one of you is our companion and our child. I do hope that what we discussed today is going to help you realize a better future for all of us together. Thank you for inviting and looking forward to seeing you again.
Thank you very much.
お疲れです。
ゆかちゃんお疲れ様です。
すごい衝撃的な。
すごい内容でしたね。
どうなの？なんかその、ね、日本にいるからそっちのキリスト教のそういう概念がないから、私しかも行ったことないし、なんかどんなぐらいのなんか。
いや、すごい衝撃だと思う。歴史がひっくり返るぐらいの。ね、とんでもない衝撃だよね。
もう、ちょっと口が開いてたの気づいた私が。
So Yuka's asking, what did you think? I mean, she's in Japan, so she doesn't quite sort of, get how the Christianity has been taught and understood. So what was it like for you guys taking this all in?
Katarina?
It's something that I think that all of us maybe suspected or felt inside of us, right? Like this divine partnership with Jesus and Mary, there had to be more to that. But to find out that almost a big portion of the miracles in the Bible were actually done by Mary, and she was just completely erased. This is amazing. I think everybody.
I know, amazing. すみえさん、ゆうかちゃんにトランスレートしてもらいます。
はい。いや、その男性性と女性性のね、聖なるパートナーシップっていうのはね、なんかこう、本能的にも分かってたし、そういうものがあるっていうのは知っておいたけれども、でも実際に、キリストが行ったと言われることのね、多くのことが実はマリアがやってたっていうところまで思いもやらなかったよ、そこまでっていう、なんか歴史を変える。で、しかも、それが完全に消されてきた。いうことを。
だいぶでかいレベルで消されてる。
なるほど、そうか。
消されてきたレベルが違かったね、私たちが思ってた。なんかエネルギー的なのかとか言ってたけど、もうそんなレベルじゃないよね。なんなら聖書に書かれていたことが、ジーザスがそうやったって書いてあるけど、あれがマグダラのマリアがやってたっていうことだし、ねえ、すごいことだよね。
Yeah, the extent of the revisionist tendencies in the Bible and the church community, my goodness.
本当に2000年をひっくり返してるよね。
We have to rewrite the 2,000 years of our past. Right?
That is amazing. Wow. So What should we do? そう、ゆうかちゃんはどう感じましたか？なんか、どう感じた？なんかそれを発信しなさいっていうこと、もっと発信しろっていう、私はそういうふうに捉えたのね。
今の話をそうやね。なんか、私は、例えばキリスト教がどんだけ影響力があるのかすら分かってないよね。ちょうど言ってたらまだしも、やっぱ日本にいると、日本ってやっぱ、宗教的なものってあるようでないから、なんかあんまり分かんなくて、そのインパクトとかもそうぐらいだったのね。そうなんやって思った。
やばい。本当にすごい。
だけどほら、やっぱね、キリスト教っていうことでいろんなことが起こってるし、世界の歴史的にもだからなんかすごいなって思って、どうそれに伝えることがどうなっていくのかが想像つかなさすぎて。
So those of us in Japan, right? Because we are not really sort of, the Christian history and Christian theology, right? The teaching of it is not really sort of ingrained in our society. So we don't really quite comprehend the extent of how shocking this is. So, it's also therefore difficult to imagine what it's like to be communicating this, to be sort of, spreading this reality, the facts.
いやー、でもさ、ハワイの時も結局、なんかなんていうの、すごくアンニュージュアルなことをやらされてた感がすごくあって、例えばハワイにとって石って本当に神様なのに、で、ハワイ王朝の場所とか、なんか、それをなぜか私がその時はね、ハワイに住みながら、なんかみんなの代表として、すいませんってハワイ王朝のこのゆかりのある場所に、ハワイにとって石って神様を私たちからいいですかっていう、なんか流れだったりとか、なんかレムリアっていうもう魂の記憶でたくさんの世界中の人が持っている魂の記憶のところ、ガサガサガサっていうサブったようなセレモニーだったから、すごく衝撃だったけど、なぜかそれができたっていうことが起こったんだけど、なんかレムリアとかよりもクリスチャニティってもっと巨大だから、この世に与えてるインパクトが3次元的に、今度そっちに入るんだみたいな。しかも私の習慣しかないのに、どういうことですか？
いやー、
So it was a tall order, right? Already in Hawaii, right? Hawaii has its own spiritual, history, the traditions, and you have your own, the kingdom, right? That was based on the spirituality, and people like us coming from Japan, sort of like entering into that arena and trying to do that spiritual ceremony and build a tower. But for some reason, it all worked out. But it was like, is it us? Are we doing this? Are we? But they were all welcoming in there, and it worked out beautifully. So that was, a unique, unusual experience. But this one, yeah. And they're talking about the New Year, and and it's a sort of very universal, global, deep human conscious impact.
That was only. That was a memory of soul level, right? Right. The Maria time in Hawaii. But the next France is Christianity. It's huge.
Thinking about the influence of the Christianity that has had on our psyche. And now we're trying to destroy that from the foundation, right? So scratching it down.
No problem. We're just, going up against the Vatican. No, just kidding. But you know what I think it does do, however, which is really key in this whole message of finding out that Mary was responsible for half of these miracles. This puts the responsibility back on all of us to channel God's energy to perform these miracles. And what that is saying is that it's not exclusive to the Son of God. This is bringing forth the idea that we are all able to do this. And this is why this is scary to the church, because that takes away the power of somebody else being a gatekeeper to divinity, right? It's saying that you, me, that person, and that person, we need to start doing these miracles.
そうやっぱりその女性がね、そのマリアがジーザスがやってきたって言われたことの、多くをやってきた。 女性がそのね、神のメッセージをチャネルできるっていうことは、つまり私たちね、がでステップアップしなくちゃいけないっていうことでもあるんではないかなと、カタリナちゃんって言ってます。で、それはやっぱり今までね、その教会ってどうしても男性主義で来たとね、その権威主義を破壊するっていう意味では、教会にとっては非常に、あるいは権威主義を信仰する人たちにとっては非常に怖いことだろうとは思うけれども、なんかいろいろなんかね、コメントが入ってきてますね。
来てるね。
There's a lot of comments actually.
Everywhere.
Richard, 私の呼んだ人。
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
So what do we do in the next 3 weeks?
Oh, how about Palm? Do you have any? You want to say something?
Oh man, it's hard to follow up with everything that you've been talking about and all the points raised and all the different avenues we could take with everything that was said. Like there's so many. I have to rewatch this video from what was said to really hone in on all the details of it all, because there was so much. But I feel like from my perspective, I'm like just so grateful that y'all are doing this type of work, and because there's a lot of people who are doing this same type of work, and there's more and more people, and just learning from this side of the world about how this is all manifesting itself, and just hearing the messages from Zeushi about how to do that, and like what the leadership over there is doing, and like the prayer unification with Mary Magdalena in France, and like divine feminine link up, all of that is like what we're talking about out here too, and like the divine masculine and feminine inside of the volcanoes. It's kind of like what it is out here. Like if it's off balance, like it can like make things not so good on the land, such as volcano eruption and like some of these things about earthquakes and whatnot. So we try to like balance it out. That's one of the things like that's gonna protect us though. It's like that's all I wanted to pass out there to y'all out there, but like how I enter into this conversation. But other than that, like I'm mostly here just to listen. I just wanted to say thank you all for that, and like that's about it. I don't know, that's about all I got to say right there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
あつみえさん、ゆうかさんに。
はい。なんかまあいろいろちょっとね、いろいろ聞いてちょっと消化をしなくちゃいけないなっていう感じはするんだけれども、同じことをね考えてる人たちはいるし、でまあ、そのトランジションっていう意味でもなんかその噴火とか地震とかある意味ではやっぱりそれも地球の浄化だと思うし、そうやってこう意識が変わってるっていうのはなんか実感してるという感じでしたね。なんかお腹いっぱい感ですね。
なんかあまりに衝撃だったな。このタイミングでそんなことを言って。
そうだよね。なんで今やねんって。なんかじわじわ来てたよね。やっとそうじゃなくてマリアなんだってなって、ちょっと一応鳴らしてくれてたのかもしれない。
確かに。
It's so much to take in, right? I'm starting to try to digest, but in a way, there's a flow, right? We started talking about Mary as in Mary Mother, or whether it's Mary, of Magdalene, and now we're kind of moving to Mary and Jesus Christ and the partnerships. So in a way, there is a flow, and there is a sort of the evolution in the thinking.
You know, what's real, I want to share something really quick, which is a very unique experience that I have had with my divine partner. And it makes sense with something that Zeus shared, which is when my partner and I got together, and even still today, I will be completely asleep. And the ancestors or God, they take over my body while I'm asleep. And my husband, he's the first person ever in my life who wakes up and takes notes on what I'm saying. This stuff I don't remember when I wake up. He has to tell me what he took notes about. And it's all this. It's divine messages about the spiritual tools and the laws. And so then my husband writes these things down. And when I come out of it, I'm like confused, right? Because it should be dark. And my husband's sitting there with a light and a pen in his hand. Guess what? We got another message. And then it's up to me and him together to interpret that message that we've been given. And like they said, Zeus said, you must enact it in your own lives.
Wow, that's divine partnership in action. My goodness. なんかカタリナちゃんの実際のもう体験としてで彼女はやっぱりぐっすり眠ってる間にいろんなメッセージご先祖様とか神様のメッセージを受け取るんだけれども、それをね書き写すのは旦那さんだそうです。で彼女はもうぐっすり眠ってるから全然記憶にないんだけれども、旦那さんがそれを一生懸命書き取って、で朝起きるとこんなこと言ってたよってなんか暗闇の中にこう明かりが灯ってこんなこと言ってたよってなんか書き取ってくれるのが旦那さんだそうです。
なるほど。
いやー、これはあと3週間。でもなんか今すごく世界が分裂してるけれども、その逆でこうさらにつながっていくっていう相反することをやっていくっていうのがすごくね、なんか印象的だったね。
I think another takeaway was that again, while the world is heading to division, there is also like a pull factor, the connection factor. I think Palm, you were saying the same thing, right? There are sort of the forces to reconnect us. So there are two different sort of opposite energy flows going, and that's also very interesting concept, right? That we should not despair. There is a counter force, division and connection. And I personally thought that what Zeus said, that therefore in the process of two forces connecting, the boundary would begin to disappear. To me, that was really very interesting. でそれでね、なんかこう分断とあとつながりっていうね、2つの交差する中で境界が消えていくっていうのもすごい面白い、個人的に面白かったです。
そうだね。なんかまあこう今日はマリアの話とか情報としてはこうインパクトのあるやつが出たんだけど、でも、まあ、結局私らがやりたいこととか宇宙から受け取ることってもハワイの時からね一緒で、もうアースファミリーでこう地球っていう存在とね、本来は私らがつながって自然のリズムに従って生きてたのを今忘れてるのを戻していく中で、地球の意識に対して祈りを捧げるってことを思い出していくのをプロジェクトを通していろんな人に伝えたり、なんかみんな忘れてるだけで思い出すだけなんだよね。だからなんか教えるとかでもなく、ただそれをやって伝えて、で宇宙の意図もそうだけど、そこの土地でやる意味もそういうキリストとかマグダラのマリアっていう人としてそれを行った人たちがもっと昔にいてっていうところとか、なんかその生身の部分、彼らもきっと悩んで上から言われて、でその時代に翻弄されてやったことが神格化されてるだけだから、なんかそういうなんか誤解みたいなものも紐解きつつ、みんなが本来もっと地球の中で安心してマザーアースに包まれて生きてた時に戻っていくっていうのをやっぱり見せていくだけかなっていうのはなんか改めて今日も思ったね。
So perhaps this is this is really the process of remembering the past, where we came from, right? It's the Micco, like we knew, like we have forgotten ancient practices of connecting with the Mother Earth. And I think the deep down we probably still remember. We just have forgotten what it was like to be connected to the earth. What it's like to be connected to the your fellow companions. And even in those times, right, that Jesus or Mary, they were not really sort of this supernatural beings. They were people too. They were struggling human beings just like us. And so not only we need to sort of reconnect to the earth, and by doing so reconnect to the universe, but we're just supposed to remember their actions, their struggles. They must have faced the same questions and challenges that we do, and therefore I think what we have to do is to remember that, and also continue to struggle and sort of perhaps other people sort of seeing that might also remember. It's not like that Jesus Christ was above us. We were all same people. We just forgotten, and some of us just trying to dig it up, recall it, and then share, so that everyone else will remember eventually.
本当だね。生き方、あり方が変わっていくんだね。このコロナっていう世界に起こったことを通して、本当にもう一度戻っていくっていう。神格化されてたとこさえも、本当は2000年前に私たち今やってるようなことをもしかしてね、やらされてた人の歴史の基礎として残されたかもしれないね。
So in a way, it's the deconstructing the past and deconstruct the myth and remembering, who they were, who we are, and where they came from, and where we're going. And it's probably the same path and same destination.
Yeah, and to me, so this kind of relationship between the female and male partnership will become more and more standard, and this is something through us being the model, we can spread to the world this kind of message of integration, and that to me was a revelation from Zeushi's message. Now Micco is already doing that. She received the message, and Yuka, and Kazu moves, and everything makes reality. So everything is made a reality. So I have seen her doing that. So wow, this kind of partnership is actually I will see more in the coming years. That's very
ideal.
嬉しいです。happy.
嬉しい、ハッピーってそんなシンプル
Very happy to hear that.
And I think it's happening more and more. And I think that there's a lot of people that don't understand that is something that they're doing, right? You've got a huge movement of people going van life and remote work, and people are starting to travel all over. And to bring this to light, like, hey, we're continuing a cycle of collective consciousness that they tried to do. Jesus and Mary and their whole crew, they were the poster children for that time of van life, right? They were basically doing this. And those of us who are picking up on their frequencies, like I did it for 4 years, right? We are like, yeah, my turn, because we have that DNA inside of us that Mary and Jesus and God put inside of us, this desire to be moving on and spreading the kingdom. And so now that's an interesting question, because that gives a lot of people who don't understand what they're doing a why.
考えてみるとね、キリストマリアとかね、使徒の皆さん、同じようなことをやってたんですよね。あちこち回ってメッセージを伝えて、で自分たちの生き方を見せてっていう、ある意味では同じことをね、2000年前にやってたことを、私たちがそうと思わずに、皆さんもそれを今実現してきたっていうことなんじゃないかなってですよね。
そうですね。ちょっと今かなりみんな衝撃だっていうのと、これからどうしようっていうこともこれから増えていく感じで、 時間がね、なかなかいい時間になってきたので、最後にゆうかちゃんからその、革新のマリア像についてのインフォメーションをちょっと世界に。
はいはい。そうなんです。私のイメージできたのが、やっぱりマリア像が置いてきて、そこの、置かれる場所に置かないといけないっていう。そうすることで、ハワイの、地球のコアの部分とつながる場所に建てたハワイの塔と、フランスのその土地がつながるっていうこと。で、そうすることできっとグリッドができるっていうのは、私はそのマザーアースと深くつながるハワイ島に建てた塔と他の塔がつながることで、マザーアースの意識とよりコアにその土地がつながると思ってるんですね。で、その塔のマリア像のイメージ、ビジョンっていうのは、マグダラのマリアの方のマリア様ではなく、私は呼んでるマリア意識っていうマザーアースの意識そのものを具現化するものだと思うんで、それを当てるっていうことが今すごく大事で、そのためには、そのゼウシの情報では、それは意思でフランスにあると言ってるんです。で、どんな形かとかまでは、マリアっていうキーワードで探しているので、完全にマリア像のものとは決めてないんですけど、ただそのマリアっていうキーワードで、オブジェ的な石のものがフランスにあると。で、それをその土地に置きなさいって言われてるので、ちょっとやっぱり現地の方の情報が欲しくて、今だとちょっとどうしても、まだまだ全然現地の情報っていうのが拾えない感じなんですね。なので、なんかもしかしてって思うものがあったりしたら、教えてほしいなと思うので、もちろんこの流れに参加してほしいなって思ってるんですね。なので、なんか何か感じた人は何かね、サポートしてもらえたらなと思うのでお願いします。それが2月11日なんです。はい。
So before we come to a close, maybe sort of a few words about the location and the item, what we are looking for in France. So it has to be a specific location. Location to be therefore connected to the location in Hawaii, which was also sort of the gateway to the core of the earth. So linking this location in France and the location of the stone tower in Hawaii, then you kind of create a grid, and there eventually you will then extend the grid to the other locations. So that's probably the concept. Yuka is also receiving, again, the keyword is Mary. And I think in this particular connection to the location of the project, she's thinking more of the Mother Earth, right, in connection to Hawaii, rather than the Mary of Magdalene. Her vision is that, again, it's probably going to be a stone object, and since in France, and since, again, the inspiration that she's receiving is Mary, could be a statue of Mary, the stone statue, but we're just really looking for, tips, suggestions. We desperately need anyone who is familiar with the southern France, Romarin, as I understand. Please, let us know, and also, please be part of it. We're looking for people who join us in this movement, in this campaign, in this effort, and your support would be most welcome. And again, the date is going to be the 11th of February.
One thing is, Yuka said that it's not the necessarily of a
statue
of Mary.
Right. It doesn't have to be. Yeah, it could be, but it doesn't have to be. It's something. Yeah, something to do with the Mary Mother Earth stone in southern France. Right?
はい。 ということでこれからも多分これはちょっともうここ開いちゃったんで、ぜひ英語で世界配信と、あともうとにかくこの配信を皆さんに今シェアリングしてほしいですね。いろんなツールを使って、もう本当にちっちゃい YouTube だろうが何だろうがね、わかんないけど、とにかくこれを世界中に、配信、いろんなことを使ってみんなでシェアリングして、この思いを世界でなんか受け取ってくれる人と一緒にもっと大きくしていけたらなって私はすごい思ったんで、ぜひとにかく皆さんこのシェアリングと、またそしてこの回は継続しますので、よろしくお願いしますということで、すみえさんお願いします。
Since we kind of opened the floodgate, right? We will continue to pursue this. We will continue to deliver these messages. And for those of you listening in, please do share in any way possible. Share with friends, share online. But I think we need to, as you said, we need to spread this message, or at least the meaning of this message. So, please do be part of it. Again, we will continue this dialogue. So stay tuned.
ありがとうございます。Everybody. Thank you. Mahalo. Mahalo nila.
Thank you so much, everybody. Mahalo for joining.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you all for letting me be a part of your circle. Thank you. Have a good night. Safe travels.
Have a good
Blessings,
night.
everybody. It was good to see you all again.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Paul. Come back out here.
I'm going to try to get back out there and try to go to everywhere. Try to go to France, try to go to Japan, try to go back to New Zealand for all of those comedy stones.
And then statue will come to your places, Manchester. Yay! You are the responsible.
We're working on it. We're trying to clear the spaces out here.
Yeah, we're gonna work together anyway.
Oh yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
マフィー終わっていいですよ。
ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
Good night.